What's up, fuckers? It's tea time. It's the first week of February and it's the most horrible time of the year. If you're a proud boy. Because it's Black History Month. Since 1976, every American president has designated February as Black History Month and endorsed a specific theme. And the Black History Month 2021 theme is Black Family, Representation, Identity, and Diversity. It explores the African diaspora and the migration of Black families, mostly from the South to all across the United States. Now, we may have thought Trumpty Dumpty was a racist, but last year he actually celebrated Black History Month all year long. He really brought the struggle of African Americans for the vote, fair housing, education, and economic opportunity roaring back to life. He reminded all of us what bare naked racism looks like, especially our long, ugly history of voter disenfranchisement. God bless him. It really is a blessing when a president goes above and beyond for an authentic experience. We saw how the Twitter incarceree went all out for an authentic experience at the historic hillbilly backwoods cousin banging tobacco spitting trailer trash lawn party at the Capitol on January 6th. There were racists and Confederate flags everywhere. You know, the Southern Heritage flag. If black men can sag, I can fly my flag. Growing up in the South, I heard things like, what about White History Month? Oh, my little beer belly bumpkin bitches. You don't want a White History Month because if we did have one, it'd have to be in October with Halloween because it's a fucking bloodbath. I also heard things like, if you want to celebrate Black History Month the right way, you better bring out the whips and chains, am I right? Sure thing, as long as we bring out the tissues and participation trophies for Confederate History Month. Yeah, you heard that right. Confederate History Month. What a joke. I guess that must be why it starts on April Fool's Day. The designation of a month as Confederate History Month began in 1994. They really can't let it go. They're hanging on like a fucking pube in a biscuit. States that have regularly declared Confederate History Month are Virginia, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi, and my home state of Texas. But wait, there's more! 10 southern states also celebrate Confederate Memorial Day to honor the southern soldiers who died in the Civil War. You know, the guys on the wrong side of history, the racists, the losers. But there's a reason that every state celebrates Black History Month and not Confederate History Month, and it's the same reason that Black Lives Matter was nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize, while the Proud Boys were designated as a new terrorist organization. And that's simply because Black Lives Matter. Whether you like it or not, white supremacy is involuntarily being checked into a hospice for a slow, agonizing death. It could take decades, but it's time to see the light. In the meantime, until white supremacy takes its dying breath, we're going to continue to see things like unequal healthcare treatment for African Americans, even during a fucking pandemic. Some black people don't want the COVID vaccine because of the way they have always been treated in America's public health care system. From 1932 to 1972, the Public Health Service tracked about 600 low-income African-American men in Tuskegee, Alabama. About 400 of them had syphilis. The stated purpose for them finding them was to better understand the natural course of syphilis. To do so, the men were lied to about the study and provided sham treatments. The study's real purpose was to see what happened to people who didn't get treatment. Many passed the disease on to family members. People suffered and died. Slaves, thugs, guinea pigs. When are we going to see black people as people? Matter of fact, all people of color have trouble trusting our healthcare system. Between the 1930s and 1970s, 1/3 of Puerto Rican women of childbearing age were sterilized whether they wanted to be or not. In the 1960s and 1970s, thousands of Native American women were sterilized without even asking. Strange. I'm suddenly craving Thanksgiving turkey. Oh, right. It's like a modern-day Pilgrims and Indians story. Anyway, a California eugenics law forced thousands of sterilizations of women and men of Mexican descent in the 20th century. For decades, sickle cell anemia, which mostly affects African Americans, has received far less money for research and treatment than other diseases. This is basically genocide, with training wheels. Today, black Americans are receiving COVID vaccinations at a dramatically lower rate than white Americans in the first weeks of the rollout. In 16 states that have released data by race, white residents are being vaccinated, in a lot of cases, 2 to 3 times more than black residents. In Pennsylvania, 1.2% of white people have been vaccinated, while only 0.3% of black people have. In Dallas County, the judge running the vaccine program wanted to do a special outreach to minority communities to help get them vaccinated by prioritizing distribution by zip code. The state, Governor Greg Abbott, said he would cut off the supply to the county if that happened. White supremacy is going to make sure the black people who aren't scared of getting the vaccination can't get the vaccination. But good thing black people haven't acted this way towards us. In fact, back in 1706, an enslaved West African American man was purchased for the prominent Puritan minister Cotton Mather by his congregation. Mather named him Onesimus, named after a slave in the Bible whose name meant useful. In 1716, Onesimus told Mather that he knew how to prevent smallpox. He told him that he had undergone a treatment which would forever preserve him from smallpox, and that whoever had the courage to do the same thing would forever be free of the fear of contagion. The treatment actually transferred infected fluid from one person's smallpox wound into a healthy person's body. It wasn't technically a vaccination, but it did activate the recipient's immune response and protect against the disease in most cases. Mather was fascinated and became a preacher for inoculation and spread the word throughout Massachusetts and elsewhere in hopes it would help prevent smallpox. Onesimus saved generations in this country from smallpox. Black people deserve so much better from us, and I understand why many people feel uncomfortable getting the vaccine because of the way they've been treated. Fearing the vaccine due to systemic racism makes sense to me. Fearing the vaccine because you think there's a microchip inside of it, well, that's as dumb as believing in QAnon. Getting the vaccine is just a little prick, something y'all are very familiar with, as racism is small prick energy. Everyone needs to get the vaccine, and everyone needs to stop being a fucking racist. I want everybody to have a great fucking day, unless you don't view black people as equals.